See if there's anything left.
There's one image that's coming through of like a field, a very close-up field of grass with yellow daffodils. I think they're the flowers daffodils. But that's the only thing really that's kind of coming up.
So just sit with that. And here's the invitation. This is the twist we're going to put on this part. Allow the ego to speak for the field of daffodils without knowing what that means.
Okay.
Use the I. If you're speaking, it's like you're translating from another language. You want to tell me exactly what the daffodils are saying.
I'm sitting in a field. The sky is very blue. And it's windy, but it feels very nice. And it's very quiet where I live. Sometimes there are cars, but not really. And most of the time, it looks like I'm doing nothing, but I'm actually doing quite a bit.
I'm going to call the ego back again.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like the ego to speak for itself. If you had to name it, what part of you is speaking?
It's a part of me that's very comfortable with receptivity and stillness. It feels like the energy of the observer self.
Okay. Now, let's go to the daffodils.
Okay.
And you're going to speak for the daffodils.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask, are you the observer self?
It's as daffodil, I think I'm far too active to be the observer self.
Okay. What name would you give yourself?
I feel more like I feel like it would be, I'm more the real self. In the sense that I do the two things at once, active and passive, in balance.
Okay.
I also want to add that I grow and then I die and I have my cycles.
Now let's come back to the ego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you hear? What is your comment on what you heard?
My ego's interpretation of that whole exchange is that it's a message from spirit to help me realize the ways in which, as an ego, I'm very grasping and I'm very active and I'm very fearful of not doing. Not in a punitive way, but just by contrast.
So imagine for a moment, ego, how you could imprint this energy so that you could call it back, call it forward, bring it to life again, bring it into your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
It can be as simple as almost taking a Polaroid of the daffodil. It could be a sensory, it could be a smell, it could be feeling the wind on your face. But my invitation is for you to notice something now. It could allow you to call this forth, this energy forth.
Mm-hmm. As you were asking the question, it sort of felt like it was whispered into my ear, was lap swimming. I don't know where that one came from.
Mm-hmm. Lap swimming.
Yeah.
Right.
Which has been something I've done in the past that has been very helpful. But it might be useful for me to have something that doesn't require me to go and, make a whole field trip out of something more subtle. Maybe it's a collage of a daffodil that I make myself
Mm-hmm.
and just put near my desk.
So again, speaking to the ego, if you close your eyes for just a moment,
Mm-hmm.
how would you call this energy into a dialogue with you?
So speaking as the daffodil, right?
Nope, speaking as the ego.
Okay. So as the ego, I'm asking for clarification. Would it be like, is there something, obviously there's sort of this idea that you have like a totem or something like physical, but also is it like a kind of, okay.
No, if you have a totem, you'll lose it or misplace it.
Yeah.
What I'm suggesting is this: you found this energy.
I see.
And the dialogue felt useful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm inviting the ego to consider a wake word like Alexa or computer or whatever, a wake word,
Mm-hmm.
to reinvite this energy for another conversation.
I see.
And that can be an image. You can make it physical, but what do you do when you're in another room or in another location?
Mm-hmm. I think I would just say daffodils, and I think I would remember. Yeah.
Okay. So just to practice,
Mm-hmm.
see if you can go back into dialogue. So this is different from 3-chair, but in other words, you can ask questions of this energy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have a conversation.
Okay.
So see if you can just do that now. Just slip back into it quickly, just to practice it and see what happens.
As the daffodil, I can see these mountains in the background. These snow-capped mountains. And then somewhere there's also evergreens. And it's very calm where I am.
So do you have anything that you can share with the ego right now that the ego could use or would find useful to hear?
The phrase that I would like to say to the ego is know when to ask for help.
So check in and see if that feels complete for a moment.
Yeah, I think it does.
Okay. Good.